Well, turning to an often overlooked story, journalists take a lot of personal risks, including imprisonment and even death. Africa's 54 Ndimyake Mwakalyelye is here to tell us about the courage of an outstanding journalist from Sudan. Dimi.
Well, thank you, Vincent. An outstanding journalist indeed. This veteran Sudanese journalist is being recognized with an award for speaking out against human rights abuses in his country.
Faisal Mohammed Salih's life as a journalist in Sudan has not been easy. Speaking out on human rights abuses and publicly criticizing President Omar al-Bashir and his government has resulted in his harassment and imprisonment. But his work has not gone unnoticed by media watchdog groups like Reporters Without Borders and the Global Media Forum. The latter has named him the 2013 recipient of the Peter Mackler Award for courageous and ethical journalism. The 53-year-old veteran journalist is a columnist for several Sudanese publications, as well as the director of programs at a non-governmental organization called Tiba Press, which trains journalists in Sudan.
They are international organizations which are concerned with the media and press freedom, and they are the ones who nominated me for the Peter Mackler Award for ethical and courageous journalism. Some of them are aware of the difficult conditions under which Sudanese journalists work in.
Salih was jailed for several days last year for criticizing the government in an interview with Al Jazeera television network. His arrest led to protests by other journalists and civil society members. Sudanese security services also suspended 3 newspapers and banned several reporters from writing last year. President Bashir's government has maintained a tight grip on the media, making it difficult for journalists to do their work. Sudan ranks 170 out of 179 nations in a global press freedom index compiled by Reporters Without Borders.
في الآن 3 صحف مقلقة بقرار أمني بالإضافة للاعتقالات والاستدعاءات.
There are 3 daily newspapers which were shut down for security reasons. This is besides summons and arrests. I was among those who were arrested last year, which resulted into a protest campaign. Several journalists and civil society groups were involved, and I'm grateful to them. I was finally released.
While press freedom is guaranteed by Sudan's constitution, editors say the security service expects them to clear main stories with them prior to publication every day. In the event of a perceived violation, the security service reportedly bans distribution of entire editions as punishment for critical coverage, inflicting financial loss on the papers. MOHY TITAWI, who heads the Sudanese Journalists Union, says threats of arrest is a constant reality for many journalists in Sudan.
The
political elite wrote an article into the National Security Bill, which stipulates that if there is any national security threat, the authorities should intervene through censorship and are allowed to confiscate newspapers and suspend their operations. They can also arrest journalists.
Salih is the first African journalist to receive the Peter Mackler Award during its 5-year existence.
Well, joining us via Skype now from New York is Camille Mackler, project director of the Peter Mackler Award for courageous and ethical journalism. And we thank you for joining us today, Ms. Mackler.
Thank you for having me.
So Mr. Salih becomes the very first African to be a recipient of this award, and it's in his 5 years. Tell us how you came across him.
So every year what the process is that Reporters Without Borders puts together a panel of journalists that they think during that year have done work that would qualify them for the award, and then my family and I choose a winner amongst that panel, typically of about 6 journalists.
Now some would say, okay, Mr. Salih has been arrested, he's been harassed, but in Somalia, journalists are literally being killed. Did you have that kind of struggle about how and where to pick this journalist from?
It's always so difficult because truly everybody that's presented to us is deserving. So many more are deserving. We really try to pick somebody who not only has shown courage and ethics in their work, but is representative of a region or of an area and of a problem so that we can shine a light on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us a little bit about this award and what it signifies to the recipient. Obviously, they're going to get a lot of publicity, worldwide recognition. What more?
We try to provide them with a network that they can meet. You know, the past winners have all started sort of interacting with each other, and also to show them that they're not alone, because sometimes it can be very isolating to be fighting truth to power in these parts of the world. And what we're trying to show them is, you know, by introducing them to different organizations, they get to meet many different people when they come here to the United States for the award. What they get to see is that they've got enormous support that they can rely on when they go back home and continue their work.
And of course, there's a monetary award, there's a monetary part to this award too.
There is, yes. We are funded almost entirely by private individual donations, many that were initially made in memory of my father, whose name is on the award, and but we prefer not to publicly disclose the amount, just out of protection for our winners.
Totally
it's not much. We're a very small award program.
Well, you know, any money is good money. Well, tell us a little bit, you just touched on it, your father, obviously this award is named after him, Peter Mackler, who died in 2008. How did the award come about?
He was a 35-year career journalist. He worked almost all of his career, nearly 30 years, with Agence France Presse, AFP, really credited with expanding their English language service, and in the last years of his life with developing manuals and safety procedures for journalists who are going into war zones. He died very suddenly in the newsroom in 2008, 5 years ago. And you know, when he passed away, his friends, his colleagues, many people came forward, said they wanted to do something to recognize him and to remember him and the mentorship and the guidance that he had provided. And we thought we would be able to reward one winner, one person in his name, and the donations were so generous that 5 years later we're still here going strong.
Well, and I hope you have many more years to do this for the journalists out there who are risking their lives. Thank you so much, Ms. Camille Mackler, who joins us from
Thank you so much.
New York. And of course, Mr. Faisal Salih will be in New York, in DC next month to receive his award. She joined us via Skype from New York.